Welcome to the All Access Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Joseph Bruen, and this week a very special guest, one of the true kings of New England. He's, of course, Latin Fury. He may be the Demon, however you may know him. Ladies and gentlemen, Luis Ortiz, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you here this week, and we're going to take a little deep dive into your career and everything Luis Ortiz. So rewinding back to the very beginning, growing up as a child, when did you first discover pro wrestling? Do you have that memory still? And who were some of your favorites growing up?
Well, from my earliest memories, I've always watched pro wrestling in some form. My dad used to take me to the Worcester Auditorium. He used to take me to the Wallace Civic Center, Boston Garden. Wrestling was at that time, wrestling was a big deal in my household. My dad was a big fan of Bruno Sammartino and Pedro Morales and all those guys from the WWF back in the day.
There's a lot of history with the Wallace Civic Center. That's in Fitchburg, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's
so
where
I remember going there for some indie shows and learning late in the game that WWF and WCW would often go there. And I never knew that until years later.
Yeah, I saw a lot of WWF there. I remember watching the Invaders there, and they're from Puerto Rico. So my parents were from Puerto Rico, and they got to talking, and we were hanging out with the Invaders there for a little bit. It was pretty cool back in the day. Yeah.
That's an awesome experience right there. So when did you actually get your foot in the door? When did you decide, this is something I want to do myself?
I was living in Puerto Rico at the time, and I've always been a fan. I was especially a fan of WCW. And I used to watch the Steiner brothers and Lex Luger and Flair and all those guys. And they did the WCW Japan Super Show. And I saw Jushin Liger for the first time. And so before that, I thought that, I could never be a wrestler. I mean, look at the Steiners and Luger and all those guys. And they're gigantic people. But I saw Liger, and he was about my height. And I'm like, well, I could probably get to be as big as him, at least physically. And that's when I decided that I wanted to be a pro wrestler, but I wasn't sure how I was going to do it because I was living in Puerto Rico at the time. So I would always buy the old magazines and stuff, and I saw an ad for Killer Kowalski's school. And I got back to the States, and that was it. So I went to high school. I did my senior year, and as soon as I got out of high school, I got a loan and paid to go learn at Walter's School in Malden.
Wow.
And that's where I got in there.
Walter Killer Kowalski, Mike Hollow, of course. Walk us through a day at Walter's school. Obviously, day to day it would change, but what was a day looking like for you there training?
Well, Walter, he'd sit in his chair there and he'd watch. We'd just get in there and roll around, and he would stop and say, "Hey, how about try this or try that?" But at first, obviously, they show us some of the basics, lock up and all the things you need to know, how to fall out of the ring, how to go over the top rope, all those things. And then we would roll around and he would teach us different things. But the school took a different structure once Mike Hollow got in there and started giving us all those drills and stuff that he polished us. I mean, I was talking, as a matter of fact, I was talking to John Walters today on the phone, and we were talking about that training. And that at that point in my career, I was in the best shape of my life. And it was because of all those drills and the constant drilling of Mike Hollow that made us, I felt great at that time. Like I said, best shape of my career.
And you would find yourself in Chaotic Wrestling, one of the prominent organizations here in the New England area. Chaotic Wrestling, what are your memories of working for Chaotic over the years?
Oh, I have a ton of fun. Well, some of the best memories of my career are there in Chaotic Wrestling. I remember that Randy Miller came and met me at a Pizza Hut to sign a contract.
Wow!
To wrestle for Chaotic Wrestling, but it was cool. It was something new at the time. They had us on little contracts. We weren't getting rich by any means, but it made you feel important, I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
And it was just, the locker room was great. I mean, you had the one night stand. You had Master Sandy. You had John Walters. Slick Wagner Brown was there for a short time, but it was a really cool group of guys, and those are nothing but great memories for me.
2019 01 Wrestling. You'd go one-on-one with Bull James. What are your memories from 0-1 and Bull James himself?
He seemed like a good guy. That match I did. I used to do this move where they would pick me up for like a side slam, and I turn it into like a DDT. And I remember hitting that move, and I felt something pull in my pec. And I never really that hasn't really healed after so much. It's been since 2019. I can still feel that, but I remember I got injured. That's my biggest memory of that match.
HWF, you'd go on to the HWF for a little while, which was spot shows that I would run. Seekonk, Massachusetts, very small shows, the Heatwave Wrestling Federation. You were involved in a triple threat against Kid USA, Jay Gillette, and Slick Wagner Brown. Now, this would have been August of 2000. So you were brand new. You were about a year in, 2 years in. So at that point, not specifically that match, but in general, what are your memories of working with Slick Wagner Brown and Kid USA, Jay Gillette over the years?
Well, Kid USA was the first guy I saw in the locker room that was about my size. And so I always wanted to work with him because I knew that we could probably do some shit together. Everybody else was bigger than me, so I was very excited working with Kid USA. I had a lot of good matches with him at NWA New England, and for Wrestling Star Wars with Knuckles Nelson used to run. And Wagner, again, an awesome worker, but he would always beat the fuck out of me somehow. I would come home and my wife would take pictures of handprints on me or whatever. And he always loved grabbing my long hair. I think that's probably why I don't have any hair on my head anymore. He would tug at it. I'm like, you don't have to pull me that hard. I'm going to go wherever you want. He'd start laughing and just yank me again. But lots of great memories of working with those guys.
And those guys you would also see in Bert Centeno's promotion as well, UCW, yes. Ultimate Championship Wrestling. He'd often run in the Friendly House or the Worcester Boys and Girls Club, different areas throughout Massachusetts. Any memories working for that promotion specifically, and of course, working for Bert Centeno?
Well, Bert was the guy, obviously, everybody knows that he used to do some spots for WWE, and those. I learned a lot from Bert. He taught me a lot. He kind of took me under his wing at first when I used to work for Silvano Souza up in where was it? Oh my God, my memories have gotten pretty bad.
Would that have been Yankee Pro?
No. It was for Silvano Souza, and I don't even think it had a name. He was just running shows up there with Steve Bradley was part of it as well, and so Bert was on those shows. I got to work with him there. And he would pull me aside and give me some pointers. Don't do this. Maybe you should do this different. So a lot of great memories of Bert. And then I worked with him over in UCW as well. And again, I was very fortunate to be around a lot of great guys. And there's nothing but good memories. And I was talking with John today on the phone, and those first years of like I call discovery, you're learning how to do a headlock properly, or you're learning the do's and don'ts of being in the locker room and keep your mouth shut and all that stuff, and just all the different characters and people that were in the locker room that were better than the characters in the ring sometimes. I miss that. That's one of the biggest things I miss of pro wrestling. Being in the locker room with all those great guys and stuff, and those first years of just learning.
Yeah. And in New England, it was nice kind of going from locker room to locker room. Even if you were bouncing to different promotions, you'd see a lot of the same faces, and they'd become like a kind of a tight-knit family.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was, So that's, like I said, those are the things I miss about pro wrestling, about not being involved in it anymore.
2013, you were involved in the Robbie Ellis, Tribute Super Juniors tournament. That's a mouthful. Now you were in there with Jason Rumble. You were in there with Eddie Edwards, Jimmy Jacobs. Any memories of that event?
That was was that in Everett?
I'm not sure. I want to say it was in Connecticut, but I could be wrong.
I think it might have been Everett. I know
Everett,
I still have the T-shirt for it. It was. Wait a second. I'm thinking about the wrong thing. I'm so sorry. I don't remember that too well.
Oh, that's okay.
Was I in a triple threat?
It was. I believe it was a fatal four-way.
Fatal four-way.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I don't remember.
No worries at all. Yeah, it's a long time ago. Long time ago. But it was the Robbie Ellis tribute tournament. So Memories of Robbie Ellis, who we lost a little while ago.
Robbie Ellis. I didn't really interact with him too much in the locker room. So I really don't, I remember being a good guy, but I don't remember, I don't have any specific stories to tell about Robbie
Sure.
Ellis. I'm sorry, this is going to be an awful interview.
No, it's fine. You've done so much, and obviously some of it is years and years ago. So we're going to
Yeah.
cover all different eras, So you'd go on to team up with Gino Martino, the Extreme Strongman. Of course, the Alliance of Violence is what you guys were known as.
Yes.
You went against the Logan Brothers, 2011 for Chaotic Wrestling. Your memories of working with the Logan Brothers?
Oh, those guys are a class act. Really good workers, but really good people as well. Really easy to work with. Just nothing but good things to say about him. But like I gotta say though, they teamed me with Gino, but the match that I had with Gino at that time period before we became a team was one of my favorite matches when I came back to Chaotic Wrestling as Demon Ortiz.
Okay.
We beat the hell out of each other that night. It was great. That's
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he's a great talent, and you're a great talent. So when you lock up, obviously, it's going to be magic. Whether you're teaming up or whether you're one-on-one, of course.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I wish they would have done more with that. At the time, my wife was going to give birth to our third son, so we did the match and we did an angle where I got hurt, and so I was off for a little while, and I thought I was going to come back to feud with Gino. And so I thought that, that whole thing with Gino and me was going to be for Gino and me. Then they ended up having a tournament and Gino ended up putting someone else over. So when I come back, well, now what is, that part for me in my mind
Right.
is what is there for me? So they end us teaming us together. And I didn't like how things were going at the time. So I decided to leave not too long after that.
Now, were there other promotions or promotions in general? Were they a little aggravated per se that these guys were signing exclusive contracts with one promotion?
Yes.
Did you notice that was kind of irking the other guys?
Yeah. But what are we gonna do? I mean, first of all, we weren't making a ton of money anyway. But now here comes this promotion that's gonna pay us no matter they have one or two shows. Like we're gonna get the same pay, which again, not breaking the bank, but it was something different, and so we just went with it, and we got the little TV deal there for a little while on NDS, and a lot of people still remember that. So that was a really fun time. I keep saying the same things. That was a really fun time.
Yeah. Well, rewind a little bit further. A year before you met the Logan Brothers in the ring, 2010, you would team up with Gino again, this time against Chase Del Monte and Big Rick Fuller. And obviously you'd go on to fight Rick Fuller one-on-one as well. Your memories of working with either Chase or Rick Fuller over the years?
I'm never going to say anything bad about anybody because I can't. I mean, those guys were, again, they were pros. They're class acts, just, I don't know. I'm at a lost words. I don't know what to say. Yeah. These guys it was just a ton of fun, and we all worked together well. There was a lot of well-trained people back then. So it's, and I'm not saying that they're not trained now. I haven't really watched a lot of the guys working now, but when I came up, everybody was trained very well. So, even a person that you might consider not a good worker still knew how to work. Is right. If you understand what I'm saying.
Sure.
So no, Chase was a good guy. Is a good guy. He's still running Chaotic Wrestling, as you know. Yeah. He's kept that company going. And Rick was nothing but good to me in the ring. And I loved working with him. I wish I would work with him more.
Were you ever on the receiving end of the chop?
No, he took good care of me.
Hey, you're lucky. You're one of the lucky ones.
He didn't nail me with one. I thought for sure I was ready for it, but he never. No.
Wow. Nope. Well, he likes you if you don't get shot.
I know.
Now, other promotions, you'd go on to EWA, of course, in Maine. You'd go to BTW, Big Time Wrestling, Front Row Wrestling, 2006, one-on-one with John Walters. Now, obviously, you may not remember that specific match, but John Walters, you'd go on to wrestle, whether you're teaming up or, one-on-one, but you'd wrestle him one-on-one all over New England, all different promotions. Without a doubt, one of your greatest opponents. What do you have to say about John Walters, the history between the two of you, and the friendship beyond the ring?
Well, he is, and it's not a knock on anybody else, because I've worked with a lot of great workers in my career, but John is the best wrestler I've ever wrestled in my life, in the whole time. And not only great in the ring, a tremendous human being. Like I said, I was talking to him today. We still keep in touch. Just a machine. Just doesn't get tired. There's a match with him and I on YouTube from Crimson Mass Wrestling from a few years ago. He was sick as a dog, and I was huffing and puffing because he was just keep coming, and just like I said, an incredible worker. I'm surprised that he didn't make it. I think about lots of guys who should have made it. That I think John was definitely one of them. And again, incredible in and out of the ring. One of my best friends in pro wrestling, definitely John Walters.
In 2010, again, for Chaotic Wrestling, Tommaso Ciampa and Max Bauer would team up against yourself and Makazi. Any personal memories of any of those individuals?
I don't. Well, it's gonna be hard for me to say anything bad about anybody, because they're just tremendous people. I was very fortunate to be around. Makazi, just super athletic, super acrobatic, nice guy. Tommaso, I went on to wrestle him one-on-one in APW as well, and those were great matches too. He was somebody similar to John Walters as far as how the physicality was going to be in the ring. I like being physical in the ring, especially as I got older. For some reason, I like the physicality of it more.
Sure.
So he is right down my alley. And Max, another real good guy. I don't remember that tag team match specifically. So I really can't say yay or nay on all of it. I'm sure it was good, because all the other three guys were great in it. So,
yeah.
What
would you say was your biggest takeaway from Walter and your biggest takeaway from Mike Hollow in the training process?
And the training process with Mike is definitely the being in shape part of it, and never forgetting your basics, because when all else fails, the basics will save you in the ring. If you get lost in there, you go to the basics and you won't get lost. You could get back on track of what you're doing in the ring. So that was a huge part of my training. Walter, we'd be sitting there rolling around, and he'd pull some hole out that we never seen before. Here, try this, and so he would show us a lot of things in that aspect. But the one thing that he showed us, and I know that a lot of the guys that train there are going to say the same thing. He would always say, "Make the people remember you." I took that to when I changed to the Demon. I took that to another level. I thought, I wanted the people to remember me, so I came up with that gimmick. Or even before, when I was doing the Latin Fury thing, I had that stupid little ponytail on the top of my head, and the face shaved up, all with the stripes on it and stuff. That's make the people remember you.
Yeah. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about the two sides of your character there. Latin Fury, when it comes to the tights, when it comes to the presentation, when it comes to the entrance music, where did all of that come from? And, where did you actually purchase the tights? Where was your go-to place?
The tights, I want to say the first Latin Fury tights I got from Mexico. The look was a take on Gene Simmons' Kiss Demon with the ponytail on the top of the head.
Yep.
The stripes on the face, they evolved from, there was an MMA performer called Chemo. You remember Chemo?
Yeah.
From the UFC? Well, he had two stripes on his beard. So I started doing that, and then one day I was shaving and I saw that there was a stripe that appeared here, so I kind of went with that, and it just evolved gradually. And the personality was just aggression,
Yeah.
The aggression mixed with a lot of lucha and Japanese stuff that I was watching at the time.
And when you transitioned into the Demon, how did that come about?
I just wanted to do something different. I've always been a big fan of the Great Muta and Vader, Liger, a lot of Japanese wrestlers and stuff. So the mask is definitely an influence from Vader and the Great Muta. I put the lights in the eyes so they would light up and stuff. And the face paint is definitely the Great Muta influence, you know?
And how about the entrance music behind the gimmicks?
Oh, I used Linkin Park One Step Closer because I liked it. I think it was at the time I was going through a lot of personal stuff, and I was kind of angry anyway in my personal life. So that transitioned to when I would get in the ring. You know, yeah. I think that was my release in a way. You know, right. So it was very easy to play that character.
Yeah,
I wasn't like that with my peers, but when I went out there, I pulled from that. You know, so that look, that scowl on my face is definitely fucking real.
Yeah.
And for the demon character, there wasn't much of a change at first, personality wise. It was still it was just Latin Fury with painted face, you know. But when I went to APW, Atlanta Pro Wrestling, when I worked with Elwood App, Big Woody, and the guys over there, another great group of guys. I've always been a big horror movie fan, and all my friends in wrestling know that. So I started pulling from The Exorcist. I wanted to change it again, so I started pulling from that movie and changing the way I would talk. So I wouldn't say me anymore. I would say we. We are going to do this. We are going to do that. So it's more of like a possessed character, you know, at the end. You know,
that's awesome. Any memories from the Golden Greek, Alex Arion?
Oh, just a guy that could go in there and work with anybody, and we wouldn't have to say a word if we didn't want to. Well, we wrestled one time in Lawrence, and he's like, I don't want to talk over too much, so we just go out there. I'm like, okay, and we had a really good match. He's another class act. I have nothing bad to say about Alex Arion. Great worker.
You'd go on to DPW 2007 early on and take on Justin Credible. What was it like working with Justin?
Easy. Nice guy. You're going to hear that a lot. Nice guy. Just easy, a pro, you know. I got to work with him. I got to work in a tag team match against him and Jason Knight, with my tag team partner, Dylan Cage, who was the best tag team partner. So you have John Walters was my greatest opponent. Dylan Cage was my greatest tag team partner, even though we had good matches against each other too. But him and I we didn't have to even speak. He tag, I come in, and we just knew what to do without even saying anything. It's just boom, 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 you know? So again, another good friend, Dylan Cage there.
Any road stories or funny behind the scenes stories that you could share that are, you know?
No, not really.
a little too extreme, maybe.
No, not extreme, but I can't remember a good enough one, and the ones that I can remember, I don't want to say.
I get that. So let's chime in on your inner fan. Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling. Who would you say your personal top 4 are?
Oh boy, that's a hard one. There's so many great ones out there. Ric Flair, definitely one. And I'm not talking about if they drew or if they were more famous here or in Japan. So for me, the Great Muta is another one. That was a huge influence on me. So Ric Flair, Great Muta. Would a tag team count as 2, or would they count as 1? Or are we doing just singles?
I guess just singles. If you do a team, I guess it does kind of count as 2.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. All right, so let's see. We got Flair. We got Muta. I'd say wow, that's hard to come up with. There's so many of the other ones. Just because I watched them when I was a kid growing up, and I was a humongous fan, it's got to be Hulk Hogan. It's got to be the other one. I'm trying to think of that fourth one. Maybe Liger, because again, that's the one that influenced me to get into wrestling. And so a lot of, if you see my style wrestling, a lot of Liger stuff is in there too.
Yeah. And then if we were to flip the switch, kind of put a spotlight on New England wrestling, who is your Mount Rushmore of New England wrestling?
Of New England wrestling, well, Walters, Dylan Cage, Slick Wagner Brown, fourth one. Whew. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
So look for that fourth one. Tommaso Ciampa. I'll put him on there.
Yeah. And then, of course, 2006 for MXW, you'd go one-on-one with Dylan Cage. Now, you said you were, a great tag team. What was it like being one-on-one with Dylan? Did you guys mesh just as well?
Oh, yeah. The first time I ever worked with him was at Wrestling Star Wars at Salisbury Beach for Knuckles Nelson. And we got in the ring and we just automatically clicked, And so those matches were easy. Again, we didn't really have to really talk if we didn't want to,
Right.
We just get in there and just go. And sometimes if we discussed anything, it would totally change in the ring anyway. We just do something else.
Yeah.
But it was that easy to work with Dylan. A lot of fun. Poor Dylan, I remember I slapped him in the ear one time. I think he might have lost some of his hearing. I blew his eardrum in a match at Worcester. He says, whatever you do, don't hit me in the ear. Boom, it's just one of those things that happens. But
yeah.
But he did, never complained. A good guy, again, we could be as physical as we wanted with each other because we know there's not going to be no hard feelings,
Yeah.
And I don't want it to sound like my matches were like a knockdown, drag out fight, but I like to be contact. I like the fans to say, if I know that wrestling is not real, but those guys, that was,
Sure. And traveling from town to town and doing all these shows for so many years, is there a favorite venue that sticks in your mind? Somewhere that you just remembered, this place is awesome. I can't wait to go back here. The crowd's great there, whatever it may be.
The place that was awesome that doesn't exist there anymore is the place in Lowell, the Polish American Veterans Club in Lowell for Chaotic Wrestling.
Yeah. Yep.
That place, and then a close second is the Fire Hall in for APW. We called it the APW Arena. It was in Newberry.
Okay.
In Newberry, and that place was great as well. The fans. They were into everything we were doing. They knew who everybody was. They knew all the storylines, and it was great to wrestle in front of those fans. And the same way at the Polish American Veterans Hall as well for Chaotic Wrestling. Those two places were great. The Fire Hall, I don't know if it exists anymore, and I know that the Veteran Hall is gone. But those were great memories in those places. A lot of good matches there.
2006, you'd go on to Wrestle Jam 3. You'd go one-on-one with the East Coast Intensity, Jose Perez. Memories of working with Jose.
Again, we just kicked the crap out of each other. It was great. Another guy easy to work with. It's one of those things where we didn't really have to discuss too much. I think for Wrestle Jam 3, John and I, we got there a little late. So I'm putting on my gear and Jose's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. This is the finish. We'll just go. I had the same kind of experience with John Walters, as a matter of fact, in Lowell. And we just went out there. Jose knows what he's doing. So we had a really good match, and then we would work again at APW. They brought him up when I was the champion up there. And it's always a pleasure to work with Jose,
2005, you'd go one-on-one with Thomas Penmanship. At that point, early on in his career, would you expect him to go as far as he has as Tommaso?
I've seen a lot of really good guys come up and not make it. So I never thought who's gonna make it, who's not, But he had the right attitude. He had the right work ethic. He never gave up, no matter how many injuries he had. And it's really a pleasure to see him there in the WWE living his dream, as well as he'll always be Handsome Johnny to me, Todd Hansen.
Yes.
Another guy that worked through injuries and did everything he had to do to get there, and he's there, and he deserves it. And it's really, really good to see those guys there.
Two other promotions you go on to work for: CCW, Connecticut Championship Wrestling, and NWW Extreme for Trooper. Any personal memories from either of those promotions?
I remember the long drive to Connecticut and the long shows. I don't know what it was about Connecticut where they would have shows that would last for hours and hours and hours. So those are good memories there. But again, a locker room full of just great people. A lot of fun. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you more.
Yeah, nice. And when it comes to injuries, what do the injuries look like for you throughout your career? Did you have many, or?
I started getting them more as I got older. I always liked doing all the high flying stuff. And when I was in the early 2000s in chaotic wrestling, getting hurt didn't even cross my mind. So when you have that kind of mentality, you don't get hurt as much, Yeah. As you start getting older, I don't know if I can still do that. And I try stuff and you start getting hurt. I've broke my nose a couple times. I tore a bicep tendon as I got older, and I tore my Achilles tendon as well. And when I tore my bicep tendon, I knew I was going to come back. So my wife's like, "You sure you're gonna?" Oh yeah, I'm coming back. So yeah. I rehabbed it as fast as I could, and I got back into it. When I did the Achilles, I thought that was going to be it. So I did the thing that all wrestlers do. I'm going to retire. I'm not coming back. I never thought I'd be one of those guys, but I ended up being one of those guys.
Yep.
So I started. APW started running a little school, and I started help to train the guys up there. And as the more I started training them, the more I would get the itch. And pretty soon, before I know it, I was using training them to get myself ready to go to the ring. And I was back again, But so after that, there wasn't really too many injuries, but I could tell that I didn't want to get hurt. If you know what I'm saying. So I still wanted to do all the things I did, but sometimes you jump to do a moonsault or whatever, and you think about it a little bit, and that's all it takes for you to really get hurt, Yeah. So the pandemic comes, and I'm thinking this is going to be a couple weeks or whatever the hell the pandemic. When it first came, nobody ever thought it was going to be what it was, right? Yeah. So I take off. I used up all my time off because I didn't want to nobody knew what this was. We knew it was very contagious and people were dying. So I took all the time off I could from work. And that time I was starting to train and at home with cardio and yoga, you name it, getting ready to when this whole thing is over in about 3 weeks, I'm going to come back to pro wrestling. Right. And what I was going to do at that point, I was going to start changing the way I did things in the ring, maybe tone down the high flying stuff and bring a more like vicious, aggressive style, something like Bruiser Brody and things of that nature. Yeah. And, weeks turns into months and months turn into years, and the pandemic's still around. And that was the end of it for me. That was the end. The pandemic killed Demon Ortiz.
Oh, man.
I ended up getting a job at the post office, and now I'm walking every day for my living, so if I blow out a knee or something in pro wrestling, then, now my family suffers. So that was pretty much the end of it for me.
So would you say you're done, or could there be another match down the line?
You never could say never, because I said that before, and like an idiot, I was back in the ring, but it's been 5 years. Yeah. I haven't been in the ring. I miss it. I would love to do it, but it's not going to be a matter of if I get hurt. It's going to be a matter of when I get hurt, because, and I'm going to be 50 years old next year. And so I think I think my time has passed, and it's time for the newer guys to carve their way in New England. You know what I mean?
Well, you've had an amazing career, and that's why we're talking about it today, So 2014, you were inducted into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. Why don't you rewind back to that night? What was that night like for you, kind of reuniting with a lot of the boys and that sort of thing?
Oh, that was a great night. And thank you very much. Thanks to the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. It was a great honor. And it was surreal to be standing up there talking in front of a guy like Harley Race, which that was really cool. And those great memories. I remember I had to have a few drinks to get up there because the nerves are going crazy. So I might have not said everything that I wanted to say, but it was a great honor. And again, like I said, coming up to meeting somebody like Harley Race, who just what a reputation of a world champion, you know. And at the time, I was the APW champion, and so I wanted to carry it like that, you know, like I want the fans to see me like that, you know.
Sure.
So it was really cool to connect with Harley Race there at that event.
And you would go on to wrestle Jose once again, but this time on a grander stage, the Rexplex in New Jersey, 2003. Oh. And this was for Ring of Honor. What was your experience working for Ring of Honor?
It was good. There was that was a deep talent pool in that locker room. I was hoping to be seen and get a job. The match was okay. The finish wasn't very extravagant. It wasn't very great in my opinion. But it was a good experience. I'm glad I had it. But it didn't work out. It wasn't in the cards for me to go to Ring of Honor.
Yeah. And then of course we'd see you on WWE Sunday Night Heat also in 2003. You know, still a great experience. I mean, you worked with Jindrak, Cade. You got some TV time. Of course, teamed up with Jason Picaro. What was that like for you? That experience and being in front of a crowd like that.
It was nerve wracking. You know, you're out there for WWE. You know, those were cool experiences. There was more than once that I would go. They didn't use me all the time. They used me for a security spot on a Kurt Angle match one time. But that was all due to Dr. Tom Pritchard, and another guy who's just super guy. He was the guest referee at a match with John Walters and I, and he had a little connection with Chaotic Wrestling. And so anytime WWE was in the New England area, I'd give him a call and, hey, do you guys need any bodies? And he goes, sure, Louis, come on down. And I got to do that one spot there. I remember for the match, I was supposed to slap Garrison Cade in the face. And when I came to unload on him, he kind of pulled back a little bit. I missed. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Yeah. Oh. So it wasn't a very great night. And then I was supposed to hit a drop kick from the top, and that was awful. And it's just, I wish I had a better match that night. Let's just say that.
Sometimes the stars don't align, and sometimes they do, you know.
Yeah. That's the way it is.
Yeah. Now, why don't you walk us through that day a little bit? Kind of take the fans behind the scenes. You know, you arrive. What time do you arrive at the arena? You know, what are you doing throughout the day, pre-match, and getting ready for things? Well,
you arrive at the arena. You check in. Like most of the time, they pay you right there. You go to catering, get catering, and just hang out for a little while. Sometimes they would have some workouts there for some of the guys that were there. They have like Arn Anderson. Fit Finley was there for one of them. And you kind of roll around in front of them, and they give you pointers and stuff like that. And you could see people from the office taking pictures of some of the guys and evaluating some people. And then they make their decisions on who was going to have a dark match, if they were going to have one at all at that time. But other than that, you just hung out and watched the show. And I only got that one shot in the ring, and that was it for me, unfortunately.
And was it Dave Hebner that paid you?
Howard Finkel paid us that one time. The one memory that I remember. Lots of that stuff I've forgotten, but I do remember Howard Finkel paying me at least once.
Any memories of Howard? Your interactions with him?
Not very brief. Just say, how you doing? Your name is such and such. Here's your pay. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Usually you go to those locker rooms and you just keep your mouth shut and don't speak unless spoken to. Type deal. Exactly. You speak to the boys who come with you, like, John was there and Arch Kincaid was there. Vince Vicala was there for a few of them, and the nerves are going because you're hoping you get picked, but it doesn't work out that way for everybody,
And who was the agent assigned to your match?
Oh my God. I don't remember. I forgot. Okay. Sorry.
So is there interaction backstage before a match like that, usually with an agent or?
There is. I just don't remember who the agent was.
Yeah.
So it might have been Arn Anderson. I believe it was Arn Anderson.
Okay.
I believe it was Arn Anderson. And they basically give you the rundown. This is what we want you to do. Blah blah blah. How long you're gonna go, type deal. And then you just come up with a kind of like a little outline of the match, and you go out there and you do it.
And let's talk about a four-way that you were involved in. This is 2003 as well. Mikey Whipwreck, Jay Busta, yourself, and the late Dan Quirk, Spider. Any memories of that?
I don't have specific memories of the match. I know I remember the match, but not specifics of it. But again, it was cool to get in there with Mikey Whipwreck. He was kind of a name in ECW, so I got the opportunity to get in there and work with him very briefly, not too much. I think the match is on YouTube, so I wasn't really into too much with him. Jay Busta, tremendous guy, and Spider was another great kid. It was very unfortunate what happened to him. As a matter of fact, we were talking about him today upstairs in my house. I don't know, lots of those things were coming up. I ended up talking to John today on the phone, and I guess it's obviously because I'm going to be on the podcast, so we were just talking about a lot of stuff, and Spider's name came up. But again, I have good memories of Spider, and again, very unfortunate what happened to him.
Yeah, we lost Spider at only 19 years old in 2005. Any personal memories of Spider or talking with him backstage or just kind of, how was Spider for the fans that didn't know him?
He was a quiet kid, hard worker, he really wanted to make it. And he could do some crazy shit out there too. And I don't, other than that four-way, I don't think I ever worked with him in a singles match. I wish I would have. Because I would have loved to have worked with him and had a chance to get in there and teach him,
Sure.
And obviously I would learn a few things too, because you always learn from your opponents, no matter if they have more experience with you than you or less. You still always learn from different people because everybody does things differently.
Yeah.
And you just pick things up as you go along.
What would you say is your most challenging part of being in this industry in general?
For me, I'd say not having the flexibility to travel as much as some of my peers did. I've always had a family, even when I got into wrestling. So for me, it's hard for me it was hard for me to go anywhere for nothing. And a lot of guys, John and I were talking about this today, that a lot of guys would go drive for hours for nothing. At that point in my life, I couldn't do things like that. So it was challenging for me in that way. It was challenging for me because I couldn't progress. I couldn't do the shows in New Jersey or the bigger shows because I couldn't be gone that long from my house.
Yeah. And, we talked about Chaotic Wrestling. For you personally, what was it like working for Chaotic? You had Jamie, you had Randy Miller, just working for that promotion behind the scenes.
It was a great experience. Those are when I have my memories of pro wrestling and my fun times, it's Chaotic Wrestling and it's Atlantic Pro Wrestling that come up, just the camaraderie of the locker room and everybody, we're all part of a unit because that's who we work for at the time. We weren't working for anybody else. Everybody at Chaotic at that time, we're all under our humongous contracts. Yep. But we all worked together and it was like a family for sure.
Any memories of Delicious Dave Vicious?
Not that many. I was on shows with him at the beginning, but I don't have many memories of him. Nothing comes to mind,
Yeah. You mentioned Master Sandy earlier. Obviously, he was managed by Master Sandy for a while there. Any memories of Master Sandy?
That nice person, super nice person. She was with the One Night Stand at the time. It was her, Ronnie Delicious, Everett G. Ecstasy, and Aaron Stevens, and they were the big heel team in Chaotic Wrestling. And what fun was to work with those guys.
Yeah. What a great era that was, wasn't it?
It was awesome.
Yeah, just think about that roster. I mean, you were all under contract, but Kyle Storm and yourself, and the ONS and the Millennium Killers, and there were so many good talents under one roof.
Yeah, and believe me, we weren't the greatest wrestlers of all time, but it just clicked.
Yeah.
It just clicked, and the fans loved it. The fans loved chaotic. Well, chaotic wrestling's still around,
Yep.
and we were the guys. Those guys, that group of guys were the guys who started it and started the following. So yeah, just it was an awesome time, like you said. It really was.
You mentioned John Walters being your number one pick. What would you say are your top 3 matches of all time, personal matches that you were in, or opponents, if you couldn't think of a certain match?
Ooh, okay. So there was a match for EWA against John Walters that happened in Gardner, Massachusetts. That's the closest that I have to a flawless match as far as me not fucking anything up.
Yep.
And lots of my family members were there, and that was a great match. Gino Martino for Chaotic Wrestling when I was the Demon and Gino came. He was fresh off of doing the Ripley's Believe It or Not, the Superhuman thing.
Yeah.
And so we had that match there, and that one sticks out in my mind a lot. And against Kid USA from what is it, Bangor, Maine? It was like 4,500 people there. And that match is on YouTube. And it was being run by one of the Savoldis, I think, was doing it. And they had like Kendall Windham was on it. I believe the Bushwhackers was on it. It was like a Toys for Tots thing years and years ago. And that one sticks out of my mind because that one I was like a super ball, like take a clothesline and bump it. If I wanted to, I could probably bump and land on my feet again and keep on going. Yeah. When you're young, you could do that stuff.
Exactly.
So that one sticks out in my mind.
We talked about Gino Martino. The other half of the Millennium Killers, Anthony Rufo. What memories do you have of Anthony?
Just a super nice guy. It's hard. I feel so redundant saying super nice guy, because again, I was surrounded by a lot of great people. I ended up having a singles match with him when they were getting me ready to wrestle Ronnie for the big belt in Chaotic Wrestling. And that one sticks out. That's another match that sticks out in my mind too. I had the tendency of, when I was younger, I'd go in the locker room, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. And he was one of the guys, sure, whatever you want to do, and they were accommodating to my lunacy. Guys like him, Duke Stallton was another one. I come to the locker room, I'm working with him. Can we try this? Can we do this? Can we try this? Can we do this? Sure, Louis, whatever you want to do. Sure.
Yeah. You're referencing Ronnie Delicious?
No, Duke Stallton.
Duke Stallton. Okay.
Yes.
You said Ronnie before.
I'm sorry.
You said Ronnie. Yeah.
I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Too many shots to the head.
It's funny with Ronnie Delicious. I used to work at a supermarket. I was 16 years old when I first got in the wrestling business. I was doing the interviews backstage at different promotions. But when I was at a supermarket there, Ronnie would come in as a customer, and he was a regular there. And this was in Massachusetts. And he'd come in, and every time I saw him from afar, we'd never interact. I just saw him from afar. And I'd say, man, I was a big wrestling fan, obviously. I'd say, man, that guy's got the look. Like he should really be, not knowing that he already has been in it for years. And fast forward, maybe a year or two later, I'm commentating at an IIW show, Anthony Rufo's event, and they had a 20-man battle royal, and I hadn't been backstage at all that day, so I'm just out there commentating, and the participants are coming out, and Ronnie D comes out as one of the participants, and I'm just blown away. Like, wait a minute, that's the guy that shops at, Rojax, and it's just a funny, full circle moment.
Yeah.
Thinking
he was another guy that was just effortless to work with him, so easy, and taught me to slow down a little bit in the ring. I wanted to, with the young guys, I think every young guy goes through that. They want to go 100 miles an hour. But by the time I got into the ring with Ronnie, he was further along, so he'd slow me down, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot from a lot of great workers in the New England area, that took their time, slow me down, don't do this, don't do that, type deal. I don't know how prevalent that is right now, but when I came up, there was a lot of that. A lot of guys who really knew what they were doing and would teach you as you went along,
And there were so many people that you had been in the ring with, dozens of times, like a John Walters, Slick Wagner Brown, whoever it may be. But there early on in your career, there were some talents that you worked with that maybe was a one-off or just a few times that you were in the ring with. Any memories? 1999, you were in the ring with Steve Ramsey. early on. And then 2000, you were in the ring with Knuckles Nelson. Any memories working with both of them?
Whew. Steve Ramsey, I worked with him for EWA in Maine. And I was doing a mask gimmick, I think, at the time. Is that the match?
Yeah.
That's the only one I remember.
Yes.
Because I had, again, big fan of Jushin Liger. So I was going to be a masked wrestler. Right. So I go ahead and I got a Japanese magazine and I saw Hayabusa for the first time. And I saw the design of Hayabusa. So I came up with this whole getup and not knowing that the design is one thing, is that I'm not going to be able to breathe in it. and my peripheral vision is going to be gone.
Right.
So that's, I remember mostly that, trying to learn to work in that thing. Yeah. I remember working with Bo Douglas, and poor Bo, he was always the recipient of a lot of the potatoes that I would give, unfortunately, especially with that stupid getup on. So my peripheral vision was off. So poor Bo would be the recipient of a lot of stiff shots every once in a while when I had that gimmick on.
It's got to happen to somebody, right?
I know. It always seemed to be him. Bo, I'm sorry, man.
That's great. Now, is there an opponent out there that you didn't get to work with? Somebody maybe you always wanted to work with, whether it be in a different area or here in New England, and just for whatever reason, never connected?
Oh, New England. I think I worked with almost everybody that I wanted to work with anyway. I would have loved to have worked with Sabu. I think that would have been pretty interesting. I never got a chance to work with Low Ki either. I know that he came to Millennium Wrestling a few times, but I never got a chance to work with him. I would have liked to have worked with him.
You did work with Xavier, right?
I did. I did. I worked with him a couple times.
Of John.
Again, super nice guy. Great athlete. Knew what he was doing. I remember the second time we worked was in Connecticut. I totally blew up. I was dying out there. But he helped me through it. But I was, oh my God, I thought I was going to die. So that's what I remember from him. We didn't really hang out or anything like that. It's one of those things that, you're in the locker room. Hey, we're working together. What are we doing? Type deal, Yeah. No bad memories anyway.
Sure.
The bad memories stick out. I'll never forget the bad memories.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We don't have to talk about the bad memories.
That's why it's always, he's a nice guy. I don't have too many bad memories of New England wrestling,
Yeah.
Nothing but good memories.
You go on to ACW again for in 2004, and you'd work with Mike Bell. Any memories with Mike?
Oh, I remember they were going to have me go over. And again, and this is me thinking that perhaps he didn't like that. And I remember I was getting whipped into the corners extra hard. That's what I remember. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that's just the way he worked, but it just didn't seem that way because if I'm whipping somebody into a corner, it's all, how do they say, pantomime, right? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's I'm making it look like I'm shooting you into that corner, but I'm allowing you to take your own bump. Well, when he was whipping me, it was like, I lose my, my shit and wham, I hit the corner. My ribs hurt for a little while after that match.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I don't know what the deal was there, but I don't think we clicked. We didn't click good in the ring.
Sure.
For whatever reason, and that's me speculating why I thought, but it wasn't. I didn't think it was a very good match.
Yeah. 2005 for NWS. It was a Chris Candido Memorial J Cup. Any memories of that event?
Oh, that was like a 4-way?
It was a multi-man match, but for some reason, I don't remember who was in it. And I tried looking it up, and I couldn't find any info on that one.
I remember that Mike Cruel. Remember Mike Cruel?
Yeah.
Okay, his dad was bodyguard for hire.
Yes.
Yeah, he got me that shot down there. It was New Jersey, correct? Was it New Jersey?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they put me in some kind of a 4-way match. I think Azrael was in it. I don't remember the other guys. And those matches, I couldn't really showcase anything. There's too many guys.
Sure.
Too many guys, and those things turned into a big clusterfuck anyway. Sorry, I hope I can swear on this show.
Oh yeah, no, you're free.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. So it wasn't a good event for me to to show what I could do,
And another longtime New England star that you were able to lock up with in Chaotic Wrestling, 2005, Maverick Wild.
Oh,
Any memories of Mav?
yeah, just another. He's right up there with John Walters. Just a machine in the ring, smooth. What a great worker he is. Tremendous shape, nice guy. But again, I learned a lot from Maverick. A ton from Maverick. He's another guy that was just an encyclopedia of wrestling, if you want to say.
Yeah.
Tremendous worker.
And going back to Mount Rushmore, how about your Mount Rushmore of female talent in New England?
Oh, I didn't really pay too much attention, to tell you the truth, I'm sorry. I hope I'm not offending anybody.
No,
It's not something that I've ever thought of.
Right.
Yeah.
Personal memories of Arch Kincaid?
We were in a match in Chaotic Wrestling. And I used to do this move where I would stand and do a front flip and land with a leg drop. And that night I did it to Arch, and somehow the move tore his ear from his head. Not totally off, but it tore it,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I just, I just thought that's I get hit hard. I don't know if I didn't apologize or it wasn't the apology that he expected. And so he had some heat with me for a little while for that, Okay. So I saw him years later at a Chaotic Wrestling. I think it was the 10th anniversary of Chaotic Wrestling. And so, I went and I gave him a better apology, let's say, because I understand, the guy's hurt, I heard him, so I went over and gave him a good apology and buried the hatchet with him. I hope that it's still that way.
Sure. I'm sure it is. Now, promotions, obviously different championships over the years. For the fans that aren't familiar with you, just going to run down some of the titles. DPW Tag Team Champion, NWA New England Heavyweight Champion, Chaotic Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion, of course, Chaotic Wrestling New England Champion, NWA Tag Team Champion, EWA Lightweight Champion, Chaotic Wrestling Tag Team Champion, and DPW Heavyweight Champion, just to name a few. And a lot of those championships you held multiple times. Was there one? Did championships mean something to you? Because sometimes it doesn't to certain people. And if it did, was there one that meant the most to you?
It did, in the sense that that company was trusting me to be the face for their company, whether it be in the junior heavyweight rank or the heavyweight title rank or the tag team title rank. So that was it. They meant something to me in that aspect. It was an honor for them to think of me in that way, to say, hey, this is the guy who represents us. So yeah. As far as the title, one of the biggest titles for me, it's got to be between the Chaotic Wrestling Heavyweight title and the Atlantic Pro Wrestling Heavyweight title. Because, the Chaotic Wrestling Heavyweight title, in the sense that guys my size weren't normally the main champion of the promotions at that time. At least that's how I remember it.
Right.
So Chaotic Wrestling doing that, having that trust in me, I've a midget out there. I'm not a very, very big guy, but they had that trust in me to be their representative, and that was really cool. And Atlantic Pro Wrestling was awesome, because for that title I was older, and I was still doing some high flying stuff, but I wanted the fans that went to see Atlantic Pro Wrestling, that when the heavyweight title match was coming to the ring, you knew there was going to be a fight. You knew there was going to be something different than all the other matches. And Elwood App and Joe Moakley, they had that trust in me to go out there and do that. I was champion there for almost 2 years. Then I lost the belt. Then I got it back. So the span was pretty much 2 years, because I lost it for a very short time. but the fans believed. They believed that when I went out there, that it was going to be something. There was the fight's coming. You know what I mean? And so that one meant a lot to me. So yeah, those two have got to be the ones: the Chaotic Wrestling heavyweight title and the Atlanta Pro Wrestling heavyweight title.
And I have a feeling who your answer is going to be, but if you could pick a dream match out there, somebody from any era, somebody from TV, somebody from the independents, who would that opponent be?
Oh, geez. That's a hard one. It'd probably be Liger.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be amazing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, probably be Liger.
Absolutely. Awesome. Now, if you could pick one moment, it's tough to narrow it down, obviously, but all of your accomplishments throughout your entire career, one single moment, what one was your favorite throughout your whole career?
The night I won the Chaotic Wrestling heavyweight title.
Yeah.
That'd be the one. That was the sweet spot of the memories, that era where I was still learning. I was still pretty new to the business still, and that feeling of these guys are they believe in me, type deal. And all of my peers were around the ring because it was a lumberjack match against Ronnie Delicious, the first ever Cold Fury, which they decided to name after me for whatever reason. But
yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
Never thought about that.
Yeah, so all those things that was a big high point for me. That brings back a lot of good memories. You feel them in here. When you think about them.
Yeah. And for the fans that haven't been able to see you, obviously in about 5 years or more, what do you have to say right now to the fans? If you had a message to all of your fans over the years, your supporters, what would you like to say to them?
Well, it's just, thanks for coming out to watch and paying your money to see this jabroni with the face paint on. And that every time I went out there, I worked really, really hard to give them their money's worth, and that I miss them. I miss going out there and performing. And, wrestling has always been a big part of my life, as a fan, as a wrestler, and so when I had to stop, it was hard. It's difficult,
Yeah.
That's one. I would think about wrestling 24/7.
Yeah.
I'd be at work and I'd be thinking of things to do in wrestling. What could I change? What could I do better? What could I do this? If I'm home, I'm watching wrestling, and so when that was gone, it was a big void, and so, yeah, I miss it. I miss the fans.
And do you keep up with it? Do you watch the current product on television?
Every once in a while, because I listen to the Jim Cornette podcast. And so if they're talking about something, that might catch my interest, I might go on YouTube and watch it. But I don't sit and watch it, I'll sit and watch old matches. I watch stuff from the 80s and from the 90s, I watch some Midnight Express against the Rock and Roll Express and the Horsemen and War Games and all that cool stuff that I used to watch as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, fast forward many years from now, what do you want your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I've never really thought about that, to tell you the truth, if the fans remember me, that's great, but I never really, I would hope that my peers enjoyed working with me. That's the one thing I hope, that they have good memories of me, of just having fun out there.
Well, they sure do, because, we've released about 36 episodes of this podcast so far, but I've recorded probably about 60 episodes so far. So I've talked to a lot of talents, and your name constantly comes up. Everybody is always saying Luis Ortiz. So you're the guy. A lot of people do look at you in that light. And then from a fan point of view, like I said, off the camera, we took a poll. Who would you like to see on the podcast? And your name came up more than anybody else.
Oh, my God.
And that's directly from the fans from different eras. So, yeah, people definitely remember, for sure.
Well, Well, that's nice to hear, and it was nice we reached out to have me on here, you know, and yeah, that's funny.
Yep. Well, it was good catching up, man, and I appreciate you being here today.
Oh, I appreciate you reaching out, man. It was a lot of fun. I hope that I was interesting. I mean, I had nothing to say, but this guy's a nice guy. This guy's a nice guy.
No, it's great, and it's a good opportunity for the fans to meet the man behind the paint. So this is good.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much.
For Latin Fury Luis Ortiz, the demon himself, I'm Joseph Bruen. This has been the All Access Entertainment Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment. We want to hear from you, the fans. Leave your comments, and we'd love to hear from you. And we will see you all next time.